Last time on Out Chasing Stars, we wrapped up our time in South Africa by doing a final round of exploring in Cape Town, including hiking the incredible Table Mountain. Boat projects were also on the to-do list as we installed a new hydro generator and swapped out and replaced our failed escape hatches. That meant we were confident in our boat's seaworthiness again and were ready to take on the Atlantic. That's an excited face you're wearing.
Excited and a little nervous because it's a bit windy here, but we are ready to depart. So we're gonna give it a go, get out of Cape Town and make our way to St. Helena.
Woo!
Yeah, it's gonna be about 12 days, we think, maybe a little bit less.
Yeah.
But we're excited. We got our third crew member with us, my Uncle
I know,
Jim.
this is an amazing moment here. Jim, you must introduce yourself on camera.
I'm ready.
Say hello.
Amy's uncle, Jim Lober, and I'm ready.
That's what I like to hear. All right, Admiral, let's fire him up and get moving.
Sounds good.
Jim had been trying to work out the time to go on a passage with us since the beginning of our trip, and we were so happy that everything had finally worked out. He's been a sailor for decades and had gone cruising on his own boat, but he hadn't yet completed the 1,000 nautical mile offshore passage that's necessary for membership in the Ocean Cruising Club. With St. Helena about 1,800 nautical miles away from Cape Town, he'd crossed that mark and then some. If that's not a world-class view behind me, I don't know what is. At least today, as we're leaving, we didn't have the fog that we did when we arrived, so that's good. We do have the higher winds that we were expecting or hoping for. It's blowing like 30 again, but you know what? Should be downwind, should be easy. We're gonna take it just to Genoa tonight, get back in the swing of passage life. But South Africa, you have been amazing. You know, the sailing around the coast, a little rough. But the country, the people, just fantastic. So second trip here, I think we'll be coming back for a third someday. As you can tell, we really loved our time in South Africa. The Atlantic, on the other hand, was trying her best to make us wish we'd never left. We've been out at sea for about a day now, so it seems like it's perfect time for a kind of passage planning talk. This one is gonna be a bit of a long one. I think at about 1,800 nautical miles, it's going to be our longest passage since we crossed the Pacific. That was back in early 2016, almost 4 years ago, which is kind of wild to think. It's been A, that long since we crossed the Pacific, but B, that this is our longest passage since then. We've covered a lot of miles in the meantime, but this passage is a little tricky one with the weather, at least to start out. There was it's a low pressure, I think technically, that's kind of along the coast of Africa. There's a high pressure system that is out in the middle of the Atlantic. It is leaving a, quote, narrow, because narrow is relative in the middle of the ocean, band of wind that we can sail in. It is going to be a bit rough to start out. We've had 30 plus knots of wind for most of our time out in the ocean so far. Wave forecast has been 3 to 4 meters. They have definitely been big. They've been confused. It is kind of like sailing around the South African coast again. So perhaps South Africa is just kind of training us for this part of the Atlantic Ocean. After we get through the first few days, things are supposed to calm down, wind's supposed to be dropping, waves are supposed to be dropping, which would be good because Amy's Uncle Jim is very nice and wanting to come with us on the passage. I'm not sure this is quite the conditions he had in mind when he came with us. So it'd be nice for things to calm down, people get over the seasickness a little bit, get into a routine, all that good fun stuff. But for now, Starry Horizons is just eating it up. I mean, she's moving, and this is kind of fun. I may have been having fun, but I don't think everyone else was. What are you guys working on down there?
We've been taking some waves over our stern, and one wave came up through the cockpit drain and just like flowed into the main salon.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah, so that was like a ocean moment, and yeah, cleanup crew of one. So it gets in under the floorboards here in the storage, so I gotta clean all this out. All my booze supply is wet.
Oh no, they can't have that.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Could be worse. It was like flowers and boxes and the other one, so.
True. Yeah. Yeah, the waves have been a little steep with short periods, and they just like kind of riding right up those transom steps.
Yes, I do.
We are a few days out of Cape Town now, and a little squall's hitting us, which is giving us a chance to do a little bit of motor sailing with a decrease in wind. Which means that one of the projects that we worked on in Cape Town we're getting a chance to test, so I figured I would do a bit of an update on all 3 of the big projects that we did. The first one is this port alternator, and very happy to say it's working as intended. It is now pumping out the appropriate amount of amps for the RPMs we're using. It's charging the batteries properly. That feels good to have that one working. The second one was the Watt&C hydro generator. We, first and foremost, very relieved to report that the installation we did for the bracket has not flooded the engine room, so I guess we managed to seal that up pretty well. That's good. The hydro generator itself has been pretty impressive. We've been sailing at pretty high speeds, which means it's been pumping out a fair amount of current, and we've only had to use the engine to heat up hot water for the first couple days. That's amazing, and a pretty huge change for us on open ocean passages. Couple small little issues with it, figuring out the best rigging for being able to raise and lower it, given the speeds that we've been sailing, has been a bit tough, trying to find a way that Amy can be able to manage it as well. But we had to cannibalize a few blocks and stuff like that from various places, but I think we've kind of got a handle on that. We do have one other issue, and I think this is an unfortunate mistake I have to own up to here. I was trying to research the wire sizing to be able to run from the converter, which is located in our port aft guest cabin, up to the batteries, which are up in the salon under the settee. And I think I was looking at the wrong voltage drop chart. So I think I was using the 10% rather than the 3. So I undersized the wire running from the converter to the batteries. So the hydro generator is occasionally jumping up into absorption mode when it shouldn't be, because it's having difficulty with the resistance in the wire pumping out as many amps as it is. So that's on the to fix list at some point. But the other third project, the escape hatches, and really relieved. We've been in some pretty big seas so far, and they are not leaking at all. Thank goodness. Now this is a truly good passage guest. Jim, did you bring us a little something special?
Brought this fabulous caviar.
Nice.
You and Amy got these oak smoked trout ribbons. That's a good substitute for salmon.
Well, there we go.
And we're gonna make an hors d'oeuvre here with zesty guacamole, caviar, and the salmon.
That sounds like a pretty nice day 4 passage treat. How about that?
You bet.
How's that looking, babe?
That looks pretty good. Hopefully we won't have caviar rolling about.
That would be unfortunate, because I know who would be cleaning that up.
Okay.
Taste master right here. You made him.
Amy's taste master.
Oh, am I? You really probably got to go all in one, huh?
Well, or half.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
I like the saltiness.
Jim did good, huh?
Jim did
You know,
good.
what needs with it is a little champagne.
Oh, God.
What are you doing down there, sweetie?
I spilled the caviar.
Oh.
I know, I even said I wasn't going to.
You said you weren't going to, but I thought you were going to make me clean it up.
4-day dirty floor.
Lovely, huh? It is day 5 out at sea, and things are getting interesting. Not necessarily in a good way. Day 5 was always the day that I had kind of circled on the calendar, because there was going to be some light winds, and then later today there's going to be another front rolling through that'll bring some stronger winds and a little bit of a wind shift. the winds died enough that we had to motor for a little while this morning. They've shifted far enough south that we can get the apparent wind forward of the beam, so we've got the screecher out, the full main up. We are sailing, which is good. I like that. However, Amy is not feeling well. She said she woke up this morning, was feeling a bit achy. After a couple hours being up trying to be on our watch, she got some pretty significant chills. So she is down below trying to sleep as much as she can. And this is, I think, the first time that one of us has really gotten sick or feeling really ill during the middle of the passage. When we sailed from Vanuatu to New Cal, Amy wasn't feeling well, but we knew that from the beginning, and it was a short one, so I got to single hand basically. It's nice that we've got Jim with us because he and I are going to kind of rework our watch schedules a little bit to try to cover for her while she sleeps and feels better. But that is not a good thing that Amy's not feeling good. We've still got probably 6 days to go. We're almost halfway, I think. But yeah, that has me a bit concerned. Since this is the first time one of us has really gotten sick in the middle of the passage, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little nervous and worried about it. I've been sitting here kind of using my laptop trying to chart out different options. If we wanted to, I think we could make a path up to Walvis Bay in Namibia. There's another spot a little bit further south that's also a port, but that would be too far upwind at this point. We could get to Namibia in about 3 days. St. Helena is still probably about 6-ish days out. I was trying to figure out what we wanted to do with that. Amy came up and got some juice and took a little break. She said she's okay with going all the way to St. Helena, so I think we're gonna just make a run for it, and hopefully she's feeling better by the time we get there. If not, doctor's appointment first thing. With Amy not feeling so well, Jim and I had to kind of rework our watch schedule on the fly, and truthfully that's kind of difficult when we've been out here and kind of gotten used to the same watch schedule over the last 5-ish days. And Jim was an absolute rock star, so normally his watch schedule has been from 6 till 10, and then Amy's done the 10 till 2, and Jim managed to stay up until 1 o'clock, which gave me enough time to get a good amount of sleep, and the front that I had been anticipating was going to be rolling in kind of late morning-ish, rolled in on his watch, so he had to be messing with the sails and all that, and he did a great job getting those ready. When wind finally started picking up over 20, he came down and got me. We were able to get the jib rolled in a little bit more, put a second reef in the main, so we're prepared for higher winds again. But yeah, just everything always happens at night. It's just always the way it is. But Jim, thanks for doing an awesome job. I'm up on watch, feeling pretty good and rested. It's my turn for now. This was only the second ever long passage that we'd had family join us as crew, and man was I glad that Jim was there with us. If necessary, I'm confident that either Amy or I could single-hand Starry Horizons, but it certainly isn't something we want to have to do. With that front moving in, conditions got a bit rough again, but we soon crossed a milestone that was worth celebrating. Hey Jim.
Hey David.
I got some very exciting news for you.
What, carrots and beans?
We just crossed over 1,000 nautical miles on the trip.
Oh wow.
Yay!
You're a member of the 1,000 Mile Club.
Alright, great. Let me off this boat.
You've done your time, ready to be choppered out, huh?
No, it's great.
Yeah.
Now what about 78,000 miles on here? Is that,
yeah, those numbers,
that like-
does weird things.
is that like
so.
where you included everything you did and everywhere you went?
It includes some magical trips that Starry Horizons sailed all the way around the world on without us.
Over a single night.
She's like Santa Claus. She does her own overnight adventures.
Great, 1,000 miles. Thanks,
1,000
guys.
miles. Good job.
And it's even fun.
That's a good attitude still.
Absolutely. We'll see what's next.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be great.
You're up, so I'm assuming that means you're still alive. That's good news.
I'm still alive.
Yeah.
Barely.
Alright. Barely.
I'm feeling a lot better
unacceptable
now.
answer.
I'm feeling a lot better now.
Well, that's good. Gonna get you another good night's sleep and hopefully back at it tomorrow, yeah?
Yes.
Hearing that Amy was on the mend, coupled with the fact that neither Jim or I had gotten sick, was the best news I'd received in a long time. Since Jim was with us, we still had the luxury of letting Amy take a bit more time to recover fully. Quick little update on Amy. She was able to come up and be on watch for just a couple hours, which was really great because I could go down and get a little bit of extra sleep. But still not 100%, so she's downstairs resting pretty much the whole day. Jim and I are still handling Starry Horizons at this point. We are kind of like trading off watch schedules, just trying to figure out who can sleep best when, and just keeping on watch best we can, but we're doing pretty good so far. It is still rough out here. The wind is kind of dropping a little bit after that big front rolled through, but again, the waves just seem to take so much longer to do so. We're just kind of getting rocked and rolled, and have taken some pretty big waves over the side of the boat. She's a little salty at the moment, but we're making good progress. We've got about a little less than 700 miles to go to St. Helena. We are still pretty deeply reefed even though the wind is dropping, and I think I'm going to keep us that way because there have been some squalls around. There's forecast to be some squalls tomorrow. We're kind of right at that awkward pace where if we go right about our normal speed, then we arrive kind of smack dab in the middle of the night. If we can go fast, then we can arrive in daylight on Friday. But with everyone kind of just a little bit sleep deprived, Amy not feeling well, squalls around, I just don't really want to be messing with the sails a whole lot. So I think we're gonna just stay deeply reefed. We'll go slow. We'll spend one more night out, but in an abundance of caution, I just don't want bad decisions be made with too much sail up if the squall's coming, that sort of stuff. So better safe than sorry. We'll just go slow for a little bit. Going slow is definitely against my nature, but in this case, crew considerations were of the utmost importance. Jim was being a trooper, but we still needed to get Amy back to full health. Hey, how you doing over there?
Better, I think.
Making progress?
Making progress.
Well, that's really good news.
I'm not dying.
Yeah, thank God. I didn't want to have to figure out what to do with a dead body out in the middle of the ocean.
Oh, I can't imagine. That would be awful.
That would be pretty horrendous. So, hard pass on that, please.
Okay.
So I guess you've been rushing a lot. Does that mean you've been reading more books than normal?
Yeah, because David and Jim are letting me rest instead of take watches. Although I am doing occasional watches, but...
Helping out in the day for a couple hours. Let us get another nap in.
Yeah. I have finished 11 books.
Oh my gosh.
2 of them are short stories, but...
What a reading machine you are.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah. Alright, well, I think maybe 3-ish more days till St. Helena.
Yeah.
Megan...
This has not been the smoothest passage, so...
No, I was like, oh, the Atlantic Ocean, you're going to be so much calmer after the Indian Ocean. Ha ha, April Fools. Oh, but wait, it's January.
Someone called it benign.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not benign.
Has not been so far. No. Experiences on this passage in the South Atlantic really vary. Ours was quite rough, but other friends reported picture-perfect calm sailing. It certainly wasn't very comfortable or relaxing out, but we soon crossed another milestone that made it all worth it. Amy came upstairs at the perfect moment this morning because we just crossed a momentous milestone. Would you like to share what that was?
Yes. We just hit 1 degree, 10 minutes west, which is the longitude of La Rochelle, France, where we started our adventure 5 years and 3 months ago. So that means that we have gone 360 degrees around the world.
Which is kind of crazy to think about. We won't actually cross our wake until we get up to the Caribbean in a couple months, but yes. 360 degrees feels like some good tangible progress.
Yeah.
Sailed a long ways to do that.
Crap.
Yeah. So, feeling pretty good. Worth a high five?
High five. Good job. Go team.
We are less than 400 miles away from St. Helena now, and it always kind of seems to be the case. Those last couple days are the hardest. The wind has died on us, which the weather forecast did get right. However, the weather forecast was also saying that the wind should be clocking around to coming from about like 110 degrees true wind angle. Unfortunately, they got that part wrong. And it's been more around like 130, 140, even 150. Now, people in the past have said, David, are you surprised the weather forecast is wrong? No, I am not. However, I have to plan off of something. So I can only plot our course as best I can based on the weather forecasts I have. So we were right on line to be sailing in the light airs if the wind was coming from the correct direction. But since it's not, as you can probably hear a little bit, the sails are banging around, we've got an engine on. It's just, yeah, not super awesome. So we're dealing with that. The other thing we discovered today as we were starting to motor is that our starboard engine had no water flow. It's a problem, you know, we don't like running an engine without water. That damages it pretty quick. I was hoping to get down and take a look at things. Most likely is the impeller, but it's tough to know for sure without getting and actually looking at things. Unfortunately, even though the waves are dying, or the wind is dying, the waves haven't followed suit yet. So I tried to get down the engine room, and a wave almost washed up into the engine room, so we're going to have to hold off on that one until the waves drop down a bit more, maybe tomorrow. But, you know, at least we're a cat. We've got a second engine. We can use that if needed. And counting down the miles to St. Helena. I think we were all ready to be done with this passage. Things were still quite rough, and with the sails banging around, even Starry Horizons was starting to feel the effects. This passage hasn't been without a few bumps and bruises for poor Starry Horizons. One of the big ones is we've just noticed some of the rivets on the gooseneck have started shearing off. A little disconcerting, don't want that to be failing on us. Unfortunately, I don't actually have a rivet gun large enough to replace with the same size rivets. And you can hear the rig is banging around quite a bit with these light winds and big waves still. So I would like to try to reinforce as I can. I've got a couple smaller rivets that I'm going to try to replace with just to see if that can provide some additional support until we get to St. Helena. We're going to give that a try. Is this perfect? No. Will it work to get us to St. Helena? I sure hope so. Another thing I discovered, well, we've been using our main electric winch for raising and lowering the main and, you know, doing pretty much everything sail related, is that the high-speed button switch seems to have gotten kind of stuck a little bit, because occasionally the winch would run for a couple seconds after you release the button. That's not such a good thing, so I have placed some blue tape over the switch to remind ourselves not to use it at the moment. And I think once we get into St. Helena, I'll be able to take one of the switches that is back and being used for the electric winch for lifting the dinghy. Since we're not going to be using the dinghy very much anytime soon, we will use one of those switches up here at the helm. But I don't really want to be doing it while we've got a lot of waves and water sloshing about and stuff. So, one more project on the to-do later list. It never makes me happy to have the to-do list grow so large while we're on passage. But what does make me happy is seeing the Admiral feel well enough to come up and take back over her galley. You must be feeling a little better if you're willing to cook dinner again, huh?
I am feeling better, thank goodness.
Yeah, that is really good news. And I think, you know, poor Jim's probably really excited because he had to suffer through my cooking the last few days.
Well, you did fine, sweetie.
Wow, it's very
Easy
generous of you.
things.
Now, what are you cooking?
I am cooking a lemongrass chicken coconut curry.
Which, this is a special recipe. You know who you are, suggested this one. And I'm a little negligent not cooking it for you, but we're at least cooking it now, huh?
Yes, we're giving it a try.
And it smells delicious.
It does smell really good.
How's it looking in there, babe?
Looks pretty good. Smells pretty good.
It does smell really freaking good.
I may have a little gone overboard on the sugar snap peas, but we'll just have to suffer right through that.
Oh no.
I know, health food. Ah.
Good enough to be going back for seconds, Jim?
For fabulous curry, chicken curry. It's awesome.
And then, Chef, how's your final verdict there?
Pretty good. I think the curry paste they use has more kick than I was expecting, but it's tasty.
Well, definitely a worthwhile experiment.
For sure.
We've had some pretty heavy air days so far on our passage, which means that, of course, it's just about time for a light air day. Wind speeds have dropped down considerably. Last night kind of started. Today it just really dropped. We could sail in these conditions. The true wind speed is around 10 knots. But the wind direction, if we were to try to sail that in that sort of conditions and heat up the boat enough that she would go more than like 2 or 3 knots, would be putting us way east of the Maldives. So this is kind of my little, maybe we're not the most pure sailors in the world, but we're passage makers and just getting it done. We're going to be motoring to make some westing so that when the wind does fill in a little bit later tonight and through tomorrow and the rest of our trip, we should hopefully be able to point straight at St. Helena, which would be good. But the best news of the day is the waves have calmed down enough. I was able to get in the starboard engine room without worrying about flooding it, and I fixed the bloody engine. I don't really know what I did, but I just tried everything I possibly could to get the seawater system, cooling system cleaned up, flushed out, whatever, and it appears to be working. So thank goodness for that. The port engine was working strong, but it's always nice to be able to swap back and forth between the two of them. So we'll motor for a little while, and then maybe before we start out on night shifts, we will pull up sails. We are truly on the final stretch. Got about 100 miles to go up to St. Helena. We're doing pretty good. We're managing to sail right now. Winds are light. They've been around 11, 12, 13 all day long. So we got full main up, full screecher out to try to sail as best we can. The weather's being a little tricky again though. You know, that weather forecast has been consistently wrong by about 20 degrees. The wind coming from further south than forecasted. So I can hear what you're saying, David, why don't you just plan on sailing as if the wind's going to be coming from 20 degrees further south than forecasted? Well, dear viewers, that's exactly what I've been trying to do. We did wing on wing for a while. We made some westing. We were in a good position with the wind coming 20 degrees further south than forecasted. We went onto the starboard tack with the screecher and boom, straight towards St. Helena. However, the wind decided it did not like me trying to figure out what it was doing and bumped another 20 degrees to the south. So rather than getting a wind angle of about 125, 130, we're now seeing 150 to 160. and that's pointing us pretty much straight north, which is not at St. Helena, unfortunately. So we're gonna have to probably do a little more wing on wing or another jibe and do a little port tack for a while. We will make it tomorrow by sunset. Might have to use the Iron Jenny to get the proper speed and angle appropriate, but I think, yeah, you know, we're about ready to get there at this point.
My alarm's about to go off.
What's going on?
Dolphins!
Oh, and you're leaving?
And dinner's almost ready.
Oh my goodness, what timing?
There goes my alarm.
Dolphins, where are you, dolphins? Coming for you, dolphins. And by the time I get up here, oh, there they are. They almost fooled me. I think we're going too slow. They don't like going this slow. How many dolphins we got out here?
I think just 3, but they're big.
Yeah, they waited for the last night, didn't they?
Yeah.
My goodness.
Last night at sunset, 11th hour.
You think they'd be willing to give us a tow?
Those suckers can fly.
Yes, they can, and we could really use the boost right now.
They are playing with us here.
Yeah. All right, guys, you're going so slow.
We're going like 4 knots.
Yeah, this
Not
is,
even, probably.
Man, 4-ish to 5, but it's slow. Not a lot of wind out here. The dolphins eventually decided they were headed in a different direction, so we had to continue to sail slowly. That was okay though, because we were so close to St. Helena. Believe it or not, it is actually last sunrise at sea time. It is just super crazy cloudy again, kind of like most of our trip, but we are about 50 miles from St. Helena, which is good. We should definitely be able to get there today. It's just been a little bit of a challenge starting last night and overnight, trying to figure out, okay, if we sail for this speed on this angle for this long and have to do a, you know, jibe to be on a reach again, how long can we sail versus are we gonna need some motor? It's been a lot of calculations trying to figure out exactly how it's gonna work, but Starry Horizons I think is eager to get there as well. She sailed pretty well overnight, so we're pretty solidly within our green zone arriving time, I'd say, before sunset. So we'll keep going for as long as we can, and if we absolutely have to, then we'll turn the engine on again. What you looking at out there, Jim?
Well, St. Helena,
We got land?
it's there. Not visible on my camera, but I can see it.
Yeah, we're still about 25 miles out from land, I think.
Yeah, I was seeing it at 30 miles, the right-hand end of it. It's a big island.
Well,
Big
especially
island.
when we haven't seen anything for the last 12 days.
You want to come around and take a look?
Yeah, let's see what we can see. Darken that up a little bit. Zoom on in. Yeah, a little bit of land. Well, keep the focus. The waves got a bit choppy again as we got close to the island, but that didn't stop me from flying the drone. We had a lot to celebrate. Another successful passage was done, and we'd officially sailed a full 360 degrees around the world.
Hey y'all! Thanks for watching our video, Sailing to St. Helena in the South Atlantic. We want to say a big thank you to my Uncle Jim because we are so glad that he finally got out to sail with us and super glad he was there to help David when I got sick. So thank you, Uncle Jim. We had a great time with you. We learned a big lesson from this passage, which is to always recheck your medical kit before you go on passage and make sure that your over-the-counter medicines are not expired or gone. We have a link to a blog post down below detailing everything in our offshore medical kit, so be sure to check it out and always check your supplies. Our next video is going to be in St. Helena, an amazing, unique island in the middle of the South Atlantic, so be sure to check it out. See y'all next time.